Hey guys, how's it going? I want to do a new discussion video today, and it's regarding gaming laptops and the pros and cons of gaming laptops, as well as where they stand against desktops. And I'm not just talking about gaming desktops, but in general on the scale. Now, I'm using gaming laptops, but not every little thing that I'm going to list is pertaining to gaming. The reason why I'm using gaming laptops is because they tend to be the kind of the strongest end of the laptops that are out right now, because they're gonna have the most powerful CPUs, GPUs, etc. that you can get for the mobile market. So let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to say is, obviously the biggest thing about a gaming laptop is that it's portable. That's awesome. You can take your games on the go. That is a big plus for a lot of people, especially for people that are on the go. There are people out there that travel a lot for their work, and I know there are quite a few people that are like, oh, why would you pay this amount of money for a gaming laptop when you can get a desktop? Not everybody is in a situation where they have a consistent place they can call home, or maybe they just can't come home as often as they'd like because of work, or maybe they're long periods of time they're going away for work, maybe going out of the country, going to other parts of the country. You never know. So that's one big plus. You can work with your laptop on the go, whether or not you're working, you're just browsing the web, you're playing video games, and again, that's a big plus. Now, another thing is they're surprisingly powerful. Now, many years ago, you could say, actually not that many years ago, within the last like 5 years, you could say that they couldn't really touch desktop GPUs and CPUs and whatnot. They're getting progressively more powerful, and some of the mobile GPUs are pretty damn strong. The 970M rivals the 960 desktop version. It's a bit worse, however the 980M is around in between the 960 and the 970 desktop GPUs. That's pretty big. That's not too far off. Now, of course, there's a big price difference. You're going to pay a lot less for one than the other, but that's huge for mobile GPUs to be that powerful. With my 970M, I can max out just about any game that's out right now, other than the few things like maxing out MSAA in GTA 5, or things like where games like DayZ aren't properly optimized, so I can't max them out as well. But for the most part, almost all games I can max out and play with at the very least 30 plus FPS, most cases 40 to 60 FPS if not more. It does really well, and that's a big plus. Like, again, Witcher 3 I can just about max out and play with 30 plus FPS. Crysis I can just about max out and play with 30 to 40 plus FPS. These are big steps in the mobile laptop market. Another thing is, you can have your wireless connection. Yes, it's not as good as being wired, but just the ability to be wherever you'd like, and if you have a connection, that is nice to be able to do that. And for those of you that aren't fans of having a bunch of wires sticking out left and right, that's also a cool little plus, because then, yeah, you can kind of do it without any wires sticking out left and right. Now let's get into the cons, and there are quite a few cons. It's not that gaming laptops are obsolete or shouldn't be a thing. In fact, they are very strong. It's just there are a few things to take into consideration when you're thinking about getting a gaming laptop. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is obviously the battery. The battery is the battery. It's just web browsing is okay depending on what you're working with, but for the most part, you're not going to be gaming for an extended period of time when you're relying just on your battery and you're not plugged in charging. When you're not plugged in charging, it's definitely going to kill your battery probably within an hour or two at most. It dies very quickly, and that is obviously a bummer. But for day-to-day uses, web browsing, and just like occasional work or something like that, it shouldn't be too bad. You've got hours upon hours of battery life. Another thing is it's not as powerful as desktop. However, I do want to say that laptops now, they're making huge strides, with some of the new laptops having liquid cooling, desktop GTX 980 graphics cards in them, and now they're having, I believe, desktop Skylake CPUs. I think the i7 6700K and the 6600K from with i5, which is huge. That's huge, and they're making much bigger progress. Now, of course, the price range is going to be much different. It's going to be much more expensive, because having these things in a mobile, just mobile center, I guess you could say, is new and it's big. but when the prices are going to drop eventually, and this is a big step for the mobile laptop market. It's big. Another thing is obviously again the price. Paying for a $1,500 laptop, you're not going to get the same top tier specs as you would with a $1,500 desktop budget. With a desktop budget, you can fit in some crazy graphics cards that beat out just about most situations that you're going to be with in the laptop market. However, laptops are getting crazy stuff. Not only desktop GPUs, but with the SLI and whatnot. 980M SLI beats out most desktop GPUs. Now, obviously, it's SLI, but still, for mobile GPUs and SLI to be doing this well is pretty crazy. It competes with the Titan graphics card and the 980 Ti, which is pretty insane. Obviously, also upgrading is not as convenient. Now, of course, you can upgrade things like RAM. It's not too difficult. You can upgrade your storage. Also, not too bad. When it comes to GPU, most of the time you can't upgrade GPU. That's a bit of a bummer because it becomes outdated more easily. When something does break or something like that, you're going to pay a lot more to fix it / replace it than you would on a desktop. If a desktop breaks, sometimes on laptops, like, parts are soldered together, and if one thing breaks, now you have to replace 3 things because they were combined. Compared to a desktop, if your graphics card is kaput, you could either potentially get it fixed under warranty or go get a new laptop and graphics card and just replace it. So that's also a big thing to take into consideration. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Really, gaming laptops, I think it's up to the user. It depends on what you're doing. If you need to constantly, if you're on the go all the time and you love gaming, I think it's totally worth it. However, if you're a hardcore gamer and you're doing most of your gaming at home, you might want to rethink it. You might still want it. I mean, it's definitely more convenient than sometimes having lugging around, trying to figure out where to put your computer and then your monitor and whatnot. Here you have it all in one convenient spot. I mean, it all depends on your personal preference. So yeah, those are just the pros and cons in my opinion. If you guys have thought of something else, please feel free to let me know. I'd love to hear your opinions. Those are just mine. And thanks again for watching.